It's wild and it's woolly here. But of all the Australian beaches that surround the Australian coast, it's this one, St Andrews, on the bottom edge of Victoria, which has inspired the richest vein of coastal architecture in the country. And the latest sandcastle, straight out of the bucket, is right behind this dune.
We were not overwhelmed, but certainly knew that we had to live up to the reputation of producing something that was unique.
I always wanted to build something that I thought was quite special. So I was, happy to build, not just this traditional sort of block house.
It's the most impressive building that we've built. I love it. I think it's beautiful.
Well, it's not often you get to do a job like this, and it's just good to see someone's got out and done something wild.
Designing this copper castle to take its place amongst the area's superstar homes was a landmark project for architect Steve Hatz.
We were so excited when we got this commission at St Andrews Beach, and I was quite nervous coming here to see how would I respond. So it was quite inspirational for me to be within this pedigree of architects, and so we certainly lifted our game to try to match the what we felt were architectural gems.
Steve?
Hello, Peter.
What have you done here?
Yeah, well, this is it. Yeah.
It's amazing. It's launching itself at us, isn't it?
Yeah. No, it really needed an impact from the front, and we just thought, well, what could we do to really welcome people to the house?
This magical prow, it's like the bow of a ship. It's such a bold material, copper, and you've clad the whole thing in it.
Yeah, may have gone overboard, but really made an amazing impact on the house.
There's a running track here which is almost echoing some of this ribbing. What's happening?
We wanted to control the way that the house sat within the landscape, so we wanted to make sure that the driveway and the paths around it matched the geometry of the house. So we took 2 perspective points on the 2 corners of the side, and then we used that to control all of the lines.
Where to from here?
We'll go inside.
Okay. The perspective points is a trick used by artists to make things recede into a canvas or jut out beyond a canvas. Here an architect's used it and makes the building soar beyond what it actually does. Steve, I love how this ribbing is starting to green off already, the patina of the copper.
Yeah, it surprised us how quickly it went green.
Yeah. Steve and one of the homeowners, Joanne, have been friends for more than 20 years.
Hi.
How are you?
Good, very well. Good. This is Peter.
Hi, Joe. I thought I might have met a ship's captain or someone.
Yes, I know. Have a look at this.
That's a wonderful front door.
Oh, I know, and in the back it's even better.
It's all shiny on the
It's
inside.
all shiny. That's how it started. The whole house actually started in this bright gold colour, and slowly, actually quite quickly, it's weathered to what you see.
That's the beauty of copper. It has a wonderful different patina on from the outside where it weathers and the inside is shiny. A lot of little fingerprints on here though, Joe.
Yeah, yes. Actually come upstairs and you can meet the rest of the family.
Okay, cool. Catch you in a minute.
Yeah, okay.
Just this way.
It's unusual to see galvanised steel stairs like these in a residential context. Joe, someone's had some sandy feet on these steel stairs. Do they get slippery when they're wet?
Actually, not too much. They're very, surprisingly very safe.
And durable.
Yes.
Hi guys.
Hi.
Hi.
Peter, mate.
Hi,
Thanks
good.
for letting in the house.
Yes, you're very welcome. Hi.
Dad making breakfast for the tribe.
Absolutely, yeah. And he's enjoying his breakfast.
Joanne and husband Tamasaba, with their 2 children, only recently moved in here.
Hello.
That's how I eat.
So we drove around and we really found this particular block where we are now completely by mistake. We just saw the for sale sign and thought, oh, that's a pretty good spot. So we put in an offer, and that's really the start of the whole process. Oh, Oh, it's got a natural beauty to it, I think. It's quite secluded as well, so it's not too noisy. It's all national park around here, so it's a lovely place to live. It's very secluded, very quiet.
They're finding it's a wonderful place to bring up kids. Being Melbourne born and bred, Joanne grew up spending holidays along these peninsula beaches.
We have wonderful memories from that time.
Building sandcastles.
Building sandcastles, boogie boards, surf mats, the whole lot.
Of Hungarian heritage, Thomas called England home before marrying Joanne and finding paradise here.
Every Pom wants to come to Australia because it's just a wonderful place to live. You come here and then you don't really want to leave in a hurry.
Sandcastles, celebrating great Australian architecture, supported by Boral. Build something great. Next on the show, Steve's Eureka moment.
You never want to overstep the mark. You want to make sure that the relationship or the friendship outlasts the professional one.
And later, your chance to win a 5-star escape to stunning Hamilton Island. Sandcastles, proudly supported by the Australian Institute of Architects, where you can find an architect to suit your needs. Architect Steve Hatz recently completed this geometric wonder after a punishing 5-year process.
It was a terrible situation. It was so disappointing to not be supported by council when you're trying to do something that is quite good for the area.
There was also the matter of preserving Steve and Joanne's long-term friendship.
You never want to overstep the mark. You want to make sure that the relationship or the friendship outlasts the professional one.
The brief was just work your magic, really.
We did countless studies, scientific studies of sun, wind, rain, topography.
The last thing I would want is someone to build something that doesn't fit the area or just doesn't fit with the landscape or anything else. So it was quite an arduous process.
But we weren't finding the solution.
It felt like it took a long time getting there.
Steve knew he needed to arrive at a clear idea for the design, his Eureka moment.
And it wasn't until I walked around this site and realised that it's sitting in a valley. It's got these lovely circular contours. That I thought, wouldn't it be great if we could start bending the landscape and pushing it up and creating these plateaus and creating this spiral. We rely heavily on animation software.
Steve uses the latest 3D technology to explore his ideas.
It also allows you to do a walkthrough, which means you can sense how you will experience the space as you're moving. The fly-throughs that we did is really how we thought that people would experience the space and how they'd engage with the different environments we created along the journey. Peter, this was my moment. When I walked up a ladder onto this little perch that we had built and saw this view. And so we built a balcony and we built this living area to try to maximise this wonderful view. I guess we knew from the onset when we struck that moment with the spiral and the copper that this would be a special house.
It was an important area for architecture, and he was obviously keen to make his mark, and we're obviously, very proud of the house and very keen to have it, very beautiful. But it's really his headache, to be honest, more than ours.
Steve, it really feels as though the house is sort of cutting its way to the horizon here.
Yeah, we worked really hard in this area, and this is the tightest point. This is, I guess, the apex. Normally what would happen is you'd put in columns, but this time around what we've done is we've got all this steel up here and we're hanging the floor. So this is essentially a steel rope which hangs the floor, so you can see the wobble.
There's a bit of shake.
Yeah, there's a huge amount of shake.
The camera's not happy, but you can feel the shake.
Yeah, we're talking about up to 20 millimetres of shake.
Because this is where the building is cantilevered.
Yeah, we're talking about 7 metres out.
when you look at the structure and the cantilever, that, you know, there's some massive steel trusses that support all that.
We both studied mechanical engineering at university, so I do like a steel girder, and especially one that's at a funny angle and clever design. So we both quite enjoyed the design process.
Well, from the initial walk up to the house from the outside, this is the one spot I was very curious to check out. It's such an awesome result.
And I guess that's part of wanting to perfect an object. And it's a very hard thing to do because every house is a one-off, it's a prototype. So you're always stumbling a little bit and learning from every experience.
Sandcastles, proudly supported by Boral, build something great. Next, the quirks of living in a copper home.
We were pretty much offline for a couple of months there when we first moved in. No telephone, no internet, and hardly a mobile phone to work.
Sandcastles, supported by Boral, build something great. The copper cladding on this house is beautiful to look at and protects against the extreme coastal weather. But there is a downside to this high-end material.
If you want to use your mobile phone, you have to go to a spot that's more glass than anything, because the copper acts as a barrier to the signal coming through. So you can't make any phone calls in the middle centre of the house.
It's all part of the individuality of this unique home.
Yeah, so this is the back of the house, Peter. It's quite different to the front of the house. We've wrapped a bedroom wing around the swimming pool.
How many bedrooms do we have through here?
We've got 2 children's bedrooms. We have a guest bedroom, and we have a smaller family entertainment area in the rear, and a couple of bathrooms. We worked really hard to avoid a pool fence. We introduced the fence on the outside of the pool, and then worked really closely with the doors to create auto-closing doors. So we were able to carefully create a safe area for the children. Yeah.
And by setting the door handles nice and high, higher than it naturally would be, that follows the rules.
That's right, and that's the key. That's the key to making it safe.
It's an interesting looking pergola here. What's this screening?
This is it's a bronze mesh. It's similar to the copper cladding in that it'll go green with time, and it's there to block out and reduce the amount of sun.
And it's a big circle as well, like the rest of the house.
Yes, it takes the same theme, the same perspective points that we had originally.
Are you the only one that understands some of this perspective point stuff?
Yes, I must admit, in our office, they thought I was a bit crazy, you know, and just pushing these perspective points, but we got there in the end. But it does really help to actually tie the whole design together. So these stairs were a very important journey in terms of this spiral.
So the mesh wraps around the stair here?
It does, and it makes it safe for people and screens people so you don't look at the neighbours.
And this is a great perspective on this big spiral plan.
I think this is probably the moment that you can actually understand the design.
It's a wonderful circular journey, and where do we end up here?
So now we'll go to the kitchen.
Right. Well, Steve, this room's changed. This morning it was covered in Cocoa Pops.
Yeah, no, we had a lot of fun with this. Have a look at this, Pete. We managed to hide the entire kitchen behind here. Yeah, so the entire mess just disappears. Yeah, so at the end of the day, you can just close it off.
Just close it off and put the mess in there.
You can, and I think the really special element is this one here, where you can change the seasons. You can go from summer to winter.
What a really simple way to transform a room from a family kitchen space into what could be a formal living space with these sliding doors.
Yeah, and I think that was what we set out to do, was to create this beautiful, white, clean space, but also to make it functional for the family. We didn't want it to be too pristine. And this is the master bedroom.
You know what I like about this room here? The windows are starting to taper back from the grand horizon view, squashing it back down onto the tea tree.
Yes, what we've done is, rather than opening it up in the living area towards the ocean, this was more private. We wanted the parents to look down at the tea trees, much more personal.
Every master has a great ensuite. This is an example.
Yeah, we did a few little tricks in this one. Joanne selected these lovely mother-of-pearl mosaics. They just glisten, they're lovely. We found an opportunity to open up the ensuite to the teacheries, and it was just an opportunity too good to miss. So we created this window, this wonderful window.
And this almost completes the journey.
Yeah, this is the end. When we go down the stairs, this is the end of the spiral. So,
Who would have thought of putting a window in a shower? Only a really creative architect. If you're looking to do something special like this house, go to findanarchitect.com.au. There you'll find A+ architects to, who knows, dream up something special.
The architect's palette is crucial in any design, and in this home, copper is the standout choice. $140,000 of it.
It's going to be here in 100 years, the copper. It's just going to be a different colour.
I really like how the bronze mesh complements the copper.
when you look at it on some angles, it looks solid, and straight on it looks transparent.
And then there's the steel, the skeleton of the house.
We've featured 3 amazing sandcastles in Victoria. Well, we're trying to find the best beach house in Australia. To cast your vote, go to the website sandcastlestv.com and vote for your favourite.
And you'll have the chance to win a superb holiday at the exclusive Qualia on Hamilton Island. Coming up, the cost of building this sandcastle.
And it went to nearly double that by the end of the project.
You're watching Sandcastles, and if you want to find out more about this great house, go to our website, sandcastlestv.com. This exclusive beach trip, less than 2 hours from Melbourne, is a sought-after location, but one that's exposed to extreme conditions.
I think that we underestimated the ferociousness of the ocean.
It's not uncommon here to have 40 to 45, sometimes 50 knots of horizontal south, southwest rain and wind.
It feels like it's pounding the house. It is so loud.
I guess you could compare it to a ship sometimes, like you're on a boat. It just really gets pounded by the wind and the rain.
It's worrisome and interesting to see how it'll affect and age the building.
None of the timber's been treated. It's all naturally weathered. Everything's going to naturally weather. If it goes rusty a bit, I don't really care.
Typically, clients don't want buildings to weather. They want the shiny, clean box to stay in the same way for 20 years with no maintenance. So this was the opposite. This was, how do we design something for it to get old?
There are so many unique features that make this home a standout. There's the industrial look and feel of the galvanised steel stairs, 2 sets of them, integral to the spiral layout.
And a really unique thing here, and I've never seen it done in a beach house before, is the use of this single point perspective line radiating out from this point here, on the ground and in the copper ribbing. It's a trick used to make the building look longer than it actually is and really emphasises the soaring nature of that cantilever.
All of this detail comes at considerable cost.
Obviously that first time you go out to tender and you get some prices back and you have a bit of shock and and recover from your shock and then try and work out what to do. That was quite stressful.
Budget was blown out completely.
A couple of times.
Yeah, a few times. So the budget was sub 1 million, and it's gone quite a bit above that.
And it went to nearly double that by the end of the project.
You just start falling in love with the process, and you get very involved in it. And we're planning to keep this house forever. We're not in a hurry to sell it, so I didn't really care too much as long as I could afford it.
The end result, the home they've always wanted. And it's just a place for the kids to enjoy the same lifestyle Joanne grew up with.
Already have, wonderful memories of just running down to the beach whenever we have a spare moment and the weather's okay.
There are so many ways an architect can respond to the site and for the family for which he's designing. This is a place for everyone to enjoy.
And it's the athletic feats of engineering combined with the copper cladding that everyone agrees should be left to age, like the beachside memories that Joe and Thomas are creating here with their kids, and the angles and perspective lines that lead to a wonderful level of design, which sits quite comfortably, thank you very much, with this architecturally powerful part of the coast.